everybody, this is Travis Motter coming to you from the Portland Bottle Shop here in Portland, Oregon. I am a certified specialist in wine. I've worked as a sommelier for years with some of the great chefs here in Portland, and I've been in the industry for 35 years. Today we're going to be talking about what I consider to kind of be what got me into wine, really. When I was back in Baltimore at the Wine Merchant, this kind of started me. I often call this region the gateway wines. The reason I love these wines and why this region I call the gateway region is you can find wines that are for everybody. If you're a beginner, you find these wines. They're very simple to understand, and yet they're very, very complex if you really delve into it. That's how I started. I started with these wines. They're inexpensive. They can be very expensive. But you can start with a little very inexpensive wines, under $20, under $15 really, that are very, very delicious, easy to drink, and yet if you take them to a party with a bunch of wine nerds like me, you can still find them to really enjoy them. We're hitting the Rhone Valley this week. The Rhone Valley is in the south of France. It is divided up into two different sections. You got the northern Rhone, which is very, very Syrah heavy, also Viognier. And then you've got the southern Rhone, which is very Grenache heavy. Both of these regions hold their own. It just really depends on what you're looking for. Completely different styles. You can really find a wide range in all of these. The northern Rhone being a little bit more hard to find, really great values. But you should really check them out because Syrah is from the Rhone Valley, or from the northern Rhone Valley, is absolutely fantastic. The purest sense to me. We're going to start off with the Guigal. This is one of the largest negociants in northern Rhone Valley. We're going to move over to Beaucastel. This is the Coudoulet of Beaucastel from the infamous Perrin family. They are kind of the royalty of the southern Rhone. And then we're heading up to a very small producer coming from the northern Rhone in the Crozes-Hermitage. So we've got a really wide variety here. Which is crazy and really fun. But you know, you can find those little things. Very easy drinking and very, very fun. So we're going to start with the Guigal. Guigal is really actually very, very famous for all their northern Rhone properties. Guigal owns and represents some of the best of the northern Rhone and the Hermitage region especially. They've got some wonderful, wonderful vineyards. This happens to be their little Blanc. And I say that little Blanc because it's under $15, but it is super fantastic. Mostly Viognier. It does blend a little bit of Marsanne-Roussanne depending on the vintage, but you're going to find Viognier. But it's a Viognier that you don't typically see. So a lot of Viognier that you're going to find all over the world. They can be very inexpensive, which is great, but I find that they can be a little bit cloying. They pop out of the glass. That's kind of what they're notorious for. It's definitely Viognier. There is a blend in this for sure. There's got to be some Marsanne-Roussanne. You get that minerality that you get a lot from Marsanne-Roussanne blends. Notorious for the southern Rhone. Marsanne-Roussanne are two grapes that blend together well. They blend together well with Viognier. You're going to find that here. But Guigal is funny. For being a larger producer, a lot of times you'll find these lesser expensive wines coming from them or from larger producers, I should say, that maybe don't get the love that they get. But Guigal really focuses on quality. So no matter where you go with Guigal, you're going to find some really quality wines. I will say that about our larger producers. We typically focus on the smaller guys. We're a small mom and pop shop, but you got to give credit where credit is due. This has a lot of minerality to it, tons of like white fruit, light white peach. And the thing, time and time again with Viognier to me, it's got to have the acidity. It's got to have something that, finishes that off at the end. If you don't have that acidity, you're going to be sipping on that, and it's going to totally coat the palate. If you're really good, you won't have that. So if you're looking for Viognier and things like that, I would recommend finding something like this. Big producer, really focusing on the quality. Lots of deep, dark minerality. Not like that light little thing, that rain on a cement sidewalk. There's a little bit of that on the palate. It's really fun though. With the acidity and stuff with this, I would say, go with a risotto, a seafood risotto, a grilled, like some grilled chicken, and lay that over some rice. Ooh, yeah. There's some vanilla notes on that. I don't know if this has any wood on it. My guess would be yes. Ooh. What a great alternative to, if you don't like the super buttery Chardonnays, this is a great alternative to something like that. It's got the weight, it's got the body, it's got that richness, but you don't have to go with all the like really buttery, over the top Chardonnays. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. Now we're going to move over to Coudoulet de Beaucastel. This is the royalty of southern France, southern Rhone Valley. Southern Rhone Valley. The parent family owns Château de Beaucastel. Château Beaucastel is widely considered probably one of the best Châteauneuf de Papes you're going to find in the world. This, for some unknown reason, is probably, I'd say, about a fourth of the price of what you're going to get for their Châteauneuf de Papes. However, it's right across the aisle from their Château de Beaucastel, Châteauneuf de Papes vineyards. So what you're going to get is things that are not right next to it, or right in the vineyards themselves, but right next to those vineyards. The soil composition is going to change just a little bit, but what you're going to get is you're also going to get super high quality wines from a very reputable, amazing winemaking family, and you're going to get a deal is what you're going to get. Now, I will admit this has been open for about an hour. I find that these wines especially, both of these, the Northern Rhone and the Southern Rhone reds, will benefit from opening up for an hour or so, especially when you're this high quality. You can really open up the wines. You can decant this for a good hour at $36, mid-30s. You're going to get really high quality wine. This is predominantly Grenache and Mourvedre. Grenache dominates the Southern Rhone. Beaucastel is one of the last houses to really use the 13 varietals that you're allowed to use in their Châteauneuf de Papes. This one comes down to about 5 different varietals. But the master of blending is phenomenal. I get this eucalyptus off the nose. I mean, it just draws you in. You can just tell from the color. It's real nice and dark and inky. Flavor profile, you're getting a dark, intense on the palate. But the weight of the wine is not so much. So you get a little bit of grip on the back palate. That grip is coming from some tannins. Now, this is like 30% Mourvedre. So you're going to have that. Mourvedre tends to be a little thicker skin. You're going to get some tannins on that. Grenache, not so much. You don't get a lot of tannin on Grenache. But really dark fruit on the palate. Tobacco. This is very high quality wine. This is a wine though that I would say I would want to open up for a few more hours. As it sits here in the glass, you're going to notice a change. Let it, push it to the side, let it go for 15 minutes, let it go for 20 minutes, a half an hour. You're really going to find that change. If you have the opportunity to put this in a decanter for an hour, even after being open for an hour, I would highly recommend it. It's going to soften that. It's going to really melt it together. I'm getting some little bit of smoky notes to it, but mostly what I'm getting is a lot of eucalyptus, a lot of dark red fruits, some tobacco notes. But then you also get that lively red fruit pop on it, which is really fun. Very age-worthy, and I would say that this wine is, don't tell them this, but I think it's worth more than what they're charging. Because you could age this wine. If you want to do a little cellar, you want to have something to the side and find out how wines work, you could age wines of all price points. You don't have to go for $100 bottles of wine. You can start yourself a little mini cellar underneath your little, in a closet somewhere, throw 6 of these in, and have them over the next 6 years. See how it develops. That's what you're looking for. Wine will age and will develop and change over the years. This is a great one to start with for under 50 bucks and is wonderful, wonderful. Highly, highly recommend that. Blackberry, blueberry, ooh, spice. Like I said, that eucalyptus. I'm getting a ton of baking spices, cinnamon, clove, some cardamom in there. Like, for under $50, that's a good deal. Okay, so that's a little bit of some of the high quality Southern Rhone wine that we have here. Beaucastel. Look for it, hunt it down. I've tasted some really old vintages, even of their Blanc. Fantastic. If you can lay them down for a while, great. If you can't, decant it, be done. But really, really, Beaucastel. You'll recognize that name. You ask any wine nerd like me, they'll be like, oh yeah, of course, Beaucastel. So now we're going to move into, that was all Southern Rhone. Beaucastel is in the Southern Rhone. Côtes de Rhône, maybe I should talk about a little bit about the way that it's broken down a little bit. The Rhone Valley itself is broken down into villages. So you've got a bunch of very famous villages. You got Rasteau, you've got Gigondas, you've got Baccarat, you've got what else do you have? Sablés in the Southern Rhone, and then you have this general Côtes de Rhône, which is what you're going to find on a lot of these. So this here is a Côtes de Rhône. So Côtes de Rhône just means that they're getting grapes from the Rhone general. Then it goes into Côtes de Rhône village, which is Rhone wine, Rhone grapes grown in just the villages, those specific villages. Then you go into those villages. So the smaller you go, the more expensive you're going to get. Think about it like that. More direct, more specific. You're going to go Côtes de Rhône, you're going to go Côtes de Rhône village, you're going to go Gigondas. Then you can go into single village or single vineyards. So you got a single vineyard in Gigondas. So when you think about wine in general, that's kind of what you want to do. You want to look at the larger picture. You got, let's say, Willamette Valley. We're here in Portland, Oregon. You got Willamette Valley. Then you go Eola Amity Hills. Then you go one particular vineyard in the Eola. If I could say that properly, I would say that. Eola Amity Hills. So you want to look at pictures like larger region, smaller, the more expensive it's going to get, basically, for the most part. There's always some great people that are out there that are like, you know what, I just want to make some great stuff, and I'm already a billionaire, and I'm just going to make some great wines. So, that being said, this was the Côtes de Rhône in general. Now we're going to a very small family. So we went from one of the largest negociants and influencers in Northern Rhone to one of the Royal families, the Royal family, the royalty of Southern Rhone. Now you're getting into a very, very small family in Crozes-Hermitage. So again, Crozes-Hermitage is kind of pretty much the best known, most expensive Hermitage or region in Northern Rhone. Crozes-Hermitage is just a larger region that's around it. They're both focusing on Syrah. They're both focusing on quality, but Crozes-Hermitage doesn't quite hold the standard as Hermitage does. But you can find some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful producers coming out of Crozes-Hermitage. So this is Domaine Melody. This is 100% Syrah. Much newer producer. These guys have only been around for 10 years or so. I think 2010 was about their first vintage. First vintage made in a garage. First vintage made in, I don't even know. Big producer. Super small producer. But what you're going to get is, you're going to get that same quality out of Syrah. Northern Rhone Syrah, if you taste it, once you taste it, once you really get it, you will know it time and time again. You will smell it and you'll be like, that is Northern Rhone Syrah. And there it is, Northern Rhone Syrah. What do I get out of Northern Rhone Syrah? It's super meaty. And when I say that, you would know exactly what I'm talking about if you grab these wines. It's like bacon fat. It's got this iron quality to it. People say bloody, but no one likes bloody. So don't say that. Say iron. But it's meaty. It's dark. It's smoky. It's like a forest fire. That's not good to talk about either, especially here in Portland. But it's dark, rich reds. But it's oh so good. Now, if you have reverse here on what you're doing, do a little rewind from what I was talking about 2 seconds ago to taste this. And there it is, Northern Rhone Syrah. What do I get out of Northern Rhone Syrah? It's super meaty. And when I say that, you would know exactly what I'm talking about if you grab these wines. Immediately, these are teeth stainer wines. You go immediately to purple teeth. Just a warning. But super smoky, dark blackberry fruit, tobacco-y, leather. This to me is what Syrah should be. There's a lot of Syrah around the world. You've got Shiraz in Australia. You've got Syrah down in California. You've got Syrah here in Oregon. You've got Syrah pretty much everywhere. It's a very, very unique style, unique nose to these wines that are coming from Northern Rhone. Beautiful, beautiful wines. All I can ever think about when I drink a Northern Rhone Syrah is some big, giant chunk of meat. I want a steak. I want something that's going to just take that up. Not even a grilled steak. The grilled smokiness from this wine will take it to that steak. You can do whatever you want with the steak. It's going to come to you with this. It's such a nice little pairing. Mushrooms, dark mushrooms. You can still find super small producers, even after talking about the larger guys in Guigal, or the royalty of Beaucastel. There's still people out there that are finding their way. They're getting their niche in there, even in the Northern Rhone, which is a very, very, very small little spot in the world, making some of the best wines in the world. The Rhone Valley was kind of my gateway into wine. I found wines that were inexpensive, but had a lot of complexity that I could understand, especially when I was just beginning, that had fruit. They were nice. They weren't sweet. They were fruit. There's a difference between fruit and sweet. You can taste that when you taste that cheap stuff. So there was a difference. So it got me into I tasted the fruit. It was easy for me to understand, and yet it allowed me to grow when I first started really getting into wine, because there's a lot of complexity in that. You can start to find that tobacco notes. You can find that little bit of garrigue. You can find all little nuances in these wines. So these are wines that you can take to a party. You can take as like hostess gifts, things like that. That if they're really into wine, they're going to appreciate it. They can age it out for a little while. That would be the smart thing to do. Or they will drink it right away, which is perfectly fine. You're just going to get a different wine. They will age. They can be drunk early. Either which way. So it's the gateway wine to me. Kind of got me into everything. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you find some great wines from the Rhone Valley. Swing by anytime to the Portland Bottle Shop here in Portland, Oregon. Have yourself a nice meal. Get yourself a nice bottle of wine or a glass of wine. Got tons of different beers here. Swing by and we'll help you out. All right. Hope you enjoyed the Rhone wines, and we will see you next time on Hey, What's Up? I don't know. No. We will see you next time. Hope you enjoyed this. Try some Rhone wines.